And then my third tip is don't necessarily rely just on the military-friendly banks to be the one to give you a mortgage.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Adventures from the Homefront. I'm Olivia, this is Kate, and we have Amanda down there on the end, and we have a lovely guest star today. This is Allison. She is a real estate agent down in basically coastal Virginia. We're going to post all of her links below. So today we did want to do a little bit of real estate episode talking about buying, renting, everything that has to do with being in the military and trying to find the home of your dreams. Because we all know that's difficult.
It's transfer season, baby.
Oh yeah!
Get those orders in hand, ladies.
Oh man.
Allison, I'm just gonna let you take it away.
Okay, cool. So hey, I'm Alison McPherson. So I'm gonna start first with my 3 top tips for military buyers, because it's one of those things that everybody needs a roof over their head, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you're in the military and you're coming from somewhere and you may not even know anything about where you're moving, you may not know, if there's a Target nearby, or if there's, a
Can't live without our Targets, I promise.
Right. And you're coming from somewhere that you might not be able to come look at a house or whatever. And so it's just a different dynamic for military buyers. So one of the things that I always say is that technology is key, right? All of the internet sites that have pictures and videos and all of that are amazing resources for military buyers. But it's so important to have somebody on the ground there for you, working for you. Because if you're looking on one of the online sites and you see a house you want to see and you contact the listing agent, that person doesn't know you, they don't know what you're looking for, and they're not there for your interests.
Yes, no.
Right. And so finding somebody who is your person there on the ground that can be your eyes and ears and tell you, when you're walking through a house, if it smells like cat pee.
Yes. I got that phone call, by the way.
Yeah, Amanda was one of my clients. Oh, I walked in and it smells like straight up cigarette smoke. So if that's something that you're okay with, that's great. But, it's something that you might not know if you're sitting in Hawaii or California or whatever.
Yeah.
So having somebody be your eyes and ears that you trust is super, super important. So ways that you can find agents. If you already know an agent, if you have bought a house with somebody in the past, or you've met an agent that you really, really liked at some point, ask them for referrals for your next place. Because everybody has a friend in another city, or we're all part of referral groups that we can help connect you to somebody who's awesome, who understands the real estate life, or not the real estate life, the military life, and the fact that you probably need to find something quickly, you probably need to find something or in a place that you can kind of dive into a community really quickly. And so people who understand that, it's so important to find somebody that's your person.
Yes, one of the best things that I can say about Allison is that, so I will say Allison and I knew each other prior. We worked together over 10 years ago. Oh my God. Where does time go? But it's funny because I did post that we were moving into the area, and she was like, hey, I'm a realtor here now. And this was our second time buying sight unseen, which I know a lot of military families do. It's really hard because you want to get equity and, things like that. That's one of the main reasons why people buy. And so I reached out to Allison, and she was amazing. She literally took videos of driving in and out of our community. She took videos of walking in through our house, which was amazing because when people get pictures taken, it's hard to tell how wide something is, how long something is. So she really brought our house to life, and we were able to pick where we wanted to go out of multiple houses within hours of doing so. And it's really hard finding a realtor that is that invested. Like they invest more, I feel like, in the people that are there to go and see walkthroughs than they do through somebody through a phone. So I would recommend that, you know, if you are buying from sight unseen or from somewhere else, I think that that's really important to kind of ask your realtor if they're willing to do that.
Yeah, and
So-
if they have before too, because like you were probably my first sight unseen, but then it kind of came in like a wave of, I had like 5 in a row last year of all people who were buying sight unseen. So like you helped me almost establish system of like the way that we do it. So like I had like 3 or 4 videos at each place, and then I would upload them to a specific place and you would know that was where you went. And so it's really important to find somebody who like has that system already established. Like thank God you knew me and you knew that I would like do a good job for you. But like if you don't know the person, knowing that they have a system that you like know, if I'm going on Tuesday afternoon at 3, that by 5 the videos are going to be uploaded or whatever to a specific place. So yeah, that's my first tip. Of course, like find a good real estate agent. Of course, that's my first tip. But then also find an agent that understands the military life but doesn't assume something about you just because you're in the military, right? Like you want to find somebody who asks questions, and because a lot of times people will say, oh well, you're military, so you'll probably be leaving right away, so you know you want somebody that's completely move-in ready. But like you may not want that. You might want to fix something up.
I want to fix something up so bad.
So sometimes it's easy to like get into the habit of thinking, you know, oh, you're this type of person, so you want this type of thing. But you want somebody that like cares about what you actually want. And so if you call somebody and they don't ask questions about you, I would say that's like a red flag. Like, don't.
One of the most important questions that she asked me was, what do you not like about your house right now? Like, what is it that you would want to change? And I know we talked about, like, you know, as a first-time mom, when we bought our last house, it was like the bathroom was right across from Levi's room, which was like horrible because you have a newborn baby, they're trying to nap, and you're like, oh my God, do I flush or not flush? Like, let's go for it. It's like certain things like that. And like we had like a split level house, so I'm trying to, like, you have a baby gate there, and I'm trying to like get the car seat over the baby gate and down the stairs, and it was just like a nightmare. So I know when we talked a couple of times, you're like, I just don't think that this floor plan is going to work for you, or like the things that you have. Like maybe you're somebody with like a ton of TVs, or maybe you're somebody that has a ton of cars, so you need a bigger garage. Like just things like, if you could change something about your house right now, what would it be? I think that that's such like a vital question. Because then they know what to be on the lookout for.
Right. Well, yeah, and like as a non-mom, like I would never think about the bathroom. I would never think that. So then when she told me that, I was like, oh.
And I know exactly what you mean, because in our house right now, it's basically like side by side.
Oh yeah.
So when he's down for a nap, like I'm contemplating, like, do I need a flush? Do I need a shower? So there are days where like I've gone without showering, and I'm like, I kind of need it.
Your husband's like, what is that? And you're like, oh, it's the baby.
Watch him for a second. I'm just gonna quick head to the bathroom now. Now that you're home.
Well, yeah, and that's something. I mean, I would never think of as like a non-mom. Like that is even a thing you have to think about. And so then I was super aware of where bathrooms were, like, and usually I don't really even pay that much attention. But since I was buying it with you, like sight unseen, I was like, okay, I need to make sure I tell her where this bathroom is, because I would hate for you to get here and then be like, this house sucks.
The bathroom is right next door, and the pipes run underneath the stairs. Like, this is not working.
Right. That's so funny. And then my third tip is, don't necessarily rely just on the military-friendly banks to be the one to give you a mortgage. So there are some that, you know, like coming to mind, USAA,
Navy Fed.
Navy Fed,
Who did we get?
Veterans United, like all of them market themselves as super military friendly, all of that jazz. And they take care of their people and all of that. But sometimes local lenders can really compete on rate, origination fees, things like that. And so I would say definitely take into account a local lender wherever you're buying, because they first of all know the local market. They know here in coastal Virginia where to look out for like flood insurance and things like that, so you're not caught with a surprise at the end of the day that like all of a sudden you don't qualify for a house because there is $2,000 of flood insurance needed every year.
Yeah.
You know, so local lenders can kind of help along with the process, along with your realtor, to kind of, I would say, get quotes from everybody. You know, who cares? Get as many quotes as you want, but make sure that you're comparing apples to apples and like literally itemized estimates so that you know what you're looking for. Because sometimes people will be like, oh, you'll get this rate, but your origination fee is $17,000.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be doing that.
So, true story, when we bought, so we went through this. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
So, we sold our house in Boston on a Friday and then bought our house here the following Wednesday. Which, if I could give a tip, make sure you have a full week in between, not just like 2 days of everything being closed and then basically 2 days of business and then the third day is like closing day.
Yeah.
And there was a holiday in there too, I think.
Yes.
I don't remember what holiday, but
So, 4th of July.
yeah.
So, so when we bought our house in Boston, we went through local vendors and, or lenders, I mean, and this was like a conflict that me and my husband had when we moved here because, I mean, we had a great rate in Boston, I can say that, but that was our biggest mistake buying here, was because my husband was very much like, Veterans United is going to have our back, like blah, 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 we'll go through them. The problem is that you're calling somebody in Missouri to buy a home in Virginia or wherever else you're at. They don't know like the tax rates and all these other like little things. So when we bought our house here, the sellers offered to pay our closing cost. So we got a couple of quotes. We got 2 quotes here and then Veterans United, and our mortgage came out to be like, what was it? It was like $100 less a month or something like that. So obviously we went through Veterans United. Well, come to find out, we didn't find out until 3 days, or it might have even been 2 days before we closed here, that because he didn't understand the state taxes here, we owed like $2,000 in closing costs. And by that time it's too late because they calculate closing when you put in your offer to buy the house. So basically we lost $2,000 of our
because
money.
he didn't do like an itemized quote so that we could look side by side and see which was better. And so like your agent can guide you through that, but I think in that case, like y'all were very adamant about going with Veterans United, so I was like, okay.
When we were getting quotes from the vendors here, they were basically telling us what our mortgage was going to be, and we just thought it was going to be $100 less through someone else, but they understood the property, they understood the area, like, so really, Veterans United basically, like when it all came out to, it was the same price as everybody else, but now we had to pay a down payment out of pocket, whereas it would have been part of our mortgage.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So fun.
So I would definitely recommend checking out local lenders. Like they have the connections. They have the connections with people too. Like we went through Steve when we were in Boston, and he got us like such a great interest rate and all this stuff, and probably saved us a ton of money. So
it's all good though. You're so happy with your house. I'm like
we love our house. I love it. We are. We're very, very happy in our home. We love it.
Yeah.
So,
but it is one of those things too, like local lenders, a lot of times they work off of commission, and so they don't close at 5 p.m. Like you can get a hold of them later in the evening, which is like when you're writing an offer, you're pretty much always writing it at like 8 o'clock at night, because you're seeing the house at 5 o'clock and then you're getting all the information together, and then you know, you want to be able to talk to your lender sometimes after 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And so some of the other ones like Navy Fed and USAA, like they're done at 5.
They're hard to get
Yeah.
hold of.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a lot more on their plate as well, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, because you're one of thousands of people that they're dealing with.
Right.
So
Yep. So those are my top 3 tips.
Yeah.
What questions do you guys have?
I don't know. That's a lot of information. We're probably not looking to buy for another couple of years. So that's like, but now we know a little bit more, and I don't know. We'll see what happens.
yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of one of those things too that when you're in the military, you have to weigh how much longer am I going to be here? Is it worth it for me to buy here, or just like start planning on buying at whatever next place you are?
Well, and the way that ours worked out, it was weird. So we moved in 12 days initially. So we knew we weren't going to be here for too long. So we're like, we'll just rent for the whatever time they're going to have us here, because we didn't really have any idea what moving was going to look like. And it was 12 days. We had to find a house, see a house, figure out what to rent a house. Everything fell through. So we ended up, we love where we were at. We're at Streets of Greenbrier is amazing.
Yeah.
But, oh my gosh, it was like, okay, just gotta get in. I was like, wish we had somebody like Allison. And they're like, oh, here, this is what this looks like. And I'm like, this sounds like such a more pleasurable than sitting on, having my husband think Zillow is a game and saving all these houses. I'm like, look at this one. And I'm like, I've seen that one 12 times.
Yeah.
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 I think for myself, because we did buy in Charleston and then we rented the property out, and so we have a wonderful relationship with our property manager, but I know when your loan basically like gets sold to another mortgage company basically, so that's what happened. And then we went to go make a payment. It was through auto pay, and we got the notification saying like, okay, your money's been taken. And then like over a week later, they sent us our money back, but did not, or actually no, it was the next day they sent us our money back, and then a week later they sent us a notification saying you didn't pay.
Like it was like sold to somebody else, but you didn't get a notification that you had a new place to send the payment to?
Well, it was like through their mortgage company, like their website messed up. And they didn't contact us to let us know until like over a week later when we had accidentally spent the money. So
Because you thought it was already paid. You
Exactly.
Loaded back into your account.
Yeah.
so then
So you're like, oh, we have all this extra money this month.
Exactly,
Yeah, we did this week.
and then it makes us like behind on our mortgage payment.
Yeah.
So now, because we've just gone through hell and back with our mortgage company, and like I said, we have a wonderful relationship with our property manager, and we've had great renters, but we are contemplating like, should we keep renting it or do we sell it? But we've only had the house for 2 years.
Right. Well, and that's where it's really, really helpful to connect with an agent in that area, of course. And I can help you find somebody. It's easy. So she's like, I got you. Don't worry.
I got connections everywhere.
Seriously. So then they can kind of run the numbers for you to see, first of all, like if the market has grown, if it's a seller's market, if there's low inventory, like you probably have more equity than you may think that you have. Or if you don't have enough equity, then at least you know that you don't have enough equity to sell yet and it doesn't make sense. And then you can just keep on being landlords, even though it probably stinks. That's the thing with like buying with a VA loan, where if you're putting nothing down, it's so hard to build equity when you're having to move 2 or 3 years later, because it's one of those like, building equity is something that just gets built over time, or you put down a down payment, which of course you can do with a VA loan if you want to. But with that being said, connect with an agent in that area, have them run a comparative market analysis. It's called a CMA. It's kind of one of those.
Yeah.
You can say, run a CMA for me, and they'll be like, wow, look at a CMA.
Yeah.
So you just say, I really want a comparative market analysis to see if it makes sense for us to sell. And then you just give them what your payoff is for your mortgage, and then they can run all the expenses of what it would be to sell, and then it can tell you, if you're needing to bring money to closing, if it's worth it for you to bring money to closing and be done with it and move on and not be a landlord anymore, because Lord knows there are people who want to be landlords and there are people who don't. I am one of those that's like, ooh, I don't want to be a landlord. So, you know, then you can see the numbers, know if it makes sense for you to sell, and then, you know, go from there. That would be my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to know.
But yeah, if you want an agent, let me know. I'll find someone for you.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that's the thing is like the VA loans, it's a great loan product.
Yeah.
But it comes with the caveat or the like sales pitch of, oh, you don't have to put any money down, which is great at the time that you're buying, but it's not great at the time that you're going to sell.
Yeah.
Like it's a benefit, but not really. If you're moving every 2 years, it's hard to build enough equity to be able to sell before the next time you leave. So then you're either forced to be a landlord or forced to pay money to get out of it.
Now, would you be losing money then, like comparing that to like renting somewhere, or would it be like a kind of a break-even type of thing, or would it just depend on the situation?
Well, so you have the tax benefit of owning a house. So you do have a tax deduction that, you know, comes out every year, and you know, it's one of those things that is hard to calculate on your own, and it really depends on the areas or the area that you are, how fast everything is growing. You know, if values skyrocket year over year. Here in coastal Virginia, things kind of stay a little bit more steady because we do have the military here and there's so many people moving in and out. So values stay steady, but they go up over time.
I would definitely recommend to like researching, like when we were in Boston, we bought our house and sold it within 1 year and we made money.
Yeah,
like,
because it's growing
profit
so
of money.
much.
And you gotta like look at the area. Like we lived in Salem, Massachusetts, which is a touristy area.
Yeah.
But we literally lived like across the street from a school that was rated 9 out of 10. So everybody was trying to get in there because the school district was so good. And we bought our house at a really good price because the people selling were like splitting up. So they had to just get rid of it.
Yeah, like they were desperate to get out.
Yeah, so they basically sold it for like 20 grand less than what it was worth. So then we basically sold it for like 40 grand more, if that makes sense.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so like y'all made out good.
Yeah, we ate that 20 grand and then we based it off of what everybody else started selling their house and then raised the bar. So I would suggest like definitely look at the school districts, like that is like a huge telltale of the area. And then just kind of look to see like how much everything is growing. Like now here we bought our house at like one of the highest rates because our house was completely remodeled and the rest of the houses aren't. So we're probably gonna rent our house out for a good
Because it's new on the
time.
inside, yeah.
Because compared to everybody else's, if we were to sell in 3 years, we'd probably lose money. So those are all like little things that you want to take into consideration too.
Right. And just have, I mean, it doesn't cost anything to have a real estate agent run comps for you to say like, hey, I would probably list it if I was going to list it between X and X, Y, whatever. And then if that's in the range based on, you can always kind of assume selling will cost you about 10%. So between closing costs, commissions, taxes, all of that jazz, it's usually around 9 to 10%. So you can think of it that way, or you can have an agent run you know, the net sheet that defines everything in the area.
And I feel like agents to a degree are a little bit like therapists because like they know the people that are buying and selling, and then the two agents are talking, so they're like, my people really want this property. Those people are going through something right now and they need to get rid of it. Like we talked about my people who like they were living someplace else, but then they had put so much money into it, and so she was talking to their realtor, so she kind of felt the nitty gritty of it, and she was like, dude, we need to just give them what they want. Like they're not budging. they're not
going to budge on price.
So like, because
let's
when
see what we
you're-
can work out.
Yeah, when you're on the phone, like you have somebody like me who it's like, I will do anything to have this house. What do you want? But then you have the other person that's like, I will do anything to get rid of it. Or you'll have the person that's like, we can sit and wait. Let's just wait. And you'll find out real fast, like because of the two agents talking, where this is going to go. So,
Well, yeah, and my whole industry is all based on motivation level. So
Yeah.
like military folks who need to move, their motivation is higher. Like is higher than maybe me who like I'm just moving from one place in Hampton Roads to another place in Hampton Roads. Like
yeah.
I don't really need to sell my house, so I'll just sit here and wait for someone to offer me
Yeah.
full price. But you know, if somebody needs to get out, you know,
Yeah.
there's sometimes room for negotiation there. So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
yeah. Please don't on the tangent.
Yeah.